America has lost its mind, and the reason for it is Candace Owens. I mean, this place is nuts. Absolutely, positively nuts. And I got to tell you something. Not only has she caused the nuts, but now there's this idea where we got to have the 25th Amendment against what? Against Trump? No, what are you talking about? He's acting crazy. You're acting crazy. What are you talking about? And then we have to impeach him. What the hell is the matter with these people? You know what the 25th Amendment is? It's like, what happened? It's because of Candace. Everybody's going nuts. Everybody's going crazy. They're going absolutely shit crazy. So I want to talk to you about this little 25th Amendment talk, because look, am I happy with Trump? Hell no. Hell no. Am I going to do what? What do you want, J.D. Vance? Why don't you hand the keys over to Peter Thiel? What's the matter with you? Everybody's nuts. I mean, everybody's nuts. And it's all Candace's fault. And you know what? Thank you. Because I'm having the time of my life. Now, we're going to sit back. We're going to go through a few things. Relax as I eructate. Let me also tell you something. I'm in a good mood because for the past couple of days or so, Mrs. L has been on business and I've been batching it and I hated it. I mean, hated it. So I had to pick her up today at Newark at the middle of the night, and I am back to my schedule. Back to where we all belong, as a great Marshall Tucker album in tone. But my friends, on a more serious note, when they hits the fan, you're going to wish you paid attention to this deal from preparewithlionel.com and our good friends at My Patriot Supply. I'm not. You think I'm exaggerating? Watch this. The world is about to explode. Wars expand, shipping lanes close, supply chains break, fuel and fertilizer prices surge, crops fail, power grids go down, and then you reach the grocery store and guess what? You find nothing left. Could you go 1 week without your local grocery store? A month? 6 months? That could never happen, right? No. Famous last words. So what happens when there's a blackout or a cyber attack or a storm or a quarantine or a shelter in place, an order that traps you at home? Panic is not a plan. Preparation is. And I'm not talking about banana chips and beef jerky. My Patriot Supply's 6-month emergency food supply provides you right now with more than 2,000 calories a day, 22 meal varieties, and food designated to last up to 25 years. Call it conspiracy theory or tinfoil prepper lunacy. You know I'm right. I know I'm right. Save $250 right now. Click the link below. Prepare with Lionel now. Let me tell you something. Something bad is gonna happen with us. And let me tell you something. The people that you better watch out are the Iranians, because they are so royally pissed off. And if anybody did half to us what we did to them, I would be a revolution. I'd wear a bandana. I'd be out wanting blood. I'd want revenge. I'm dead serious. If somebody took our Pope out, our leaders, our generals, and then laughed about it, said how they're going to go and annihilate us, do you know what we would do? Do you know what we would do if some crazy leader said, you're going to be a heaping pile of radioactive rubble or whatever it is? You have got to be nuts. Let me explain something. This is critical for people to understand and to grasp. Let me see if I can maybe do this, perhaps in a different way. One of the hardest things for us to do, and especially if you've been around the political realm as I have, specifically the, dare I say, the conservative usual types, you know what I mean? The kind of the Fox Newsers and the usual conservative pap and tripe. It's almost like top 40. Conservative, how do I say this? Conservative news today is like yacht rock is to the American songbook. Seriously, what a fool believes. How many more times can I hear that? That's what this stuff is. So I have a lot to talk about, and it's going to be all over the place. because there's a lot to talk about. I was on yesterday with Harrison Smith, his show. What a great, it was so wonderful to think that we have younger folks out there who are going to maybe pick up the gauntlet and run with it, and not these jadruls on the usual suspects. We talked about this, and I see all kinds of problems. I see Alex Jones is calling for Trump to be the 25th Amendment, and he's crazy, and he stepped down, and Roger Stone won't talk to him. And what is this shit? This is the big, what are we, children? Are we children? With all due respect to AJ, you know I love you, but man, no. Do I have to remind you? Do you know how bad it was during Nixon? They didn't get rid of him because Nixon was drunk. Nixon beat the hell out of his wife. Have you heard those stories? This guy was a souse and a sot and a dipsomaniac. You know who else was a bad drunk? Absolutely bad. Lyndon Johnson. He'd go through Cuddy. Oh my God, Cuddy, a case of Cuddy a day or whatever the hell it is. He was. Did you ever hear the famous when he called the guy who owned Hager Slacks? Did you ever hear this? Please go online and find this. YouTube has it. He's describing how he wants his bespoke pants, and he put on like 50 pounds, 60 pounds. He said, "I want you to make sure the pockets are deep so I can carry my knife and his knife." And he said, "No, I don't want it reaching up to get my bunghole." This is the president on the phone. And this guy said, "Yes, Mr. President." What am I? Nobody talked about getting rid of him. Nobody talked about 25th Amendment him. Reagan yelling, "Who ordered the veal cutlet?" Jimmy Carter, Franklin Pierce. Franklin Pierce was a bona fide, absolute, 100% dyed-in-the-wool alkie. Woodrow Wilson had a stroke. And you want to get rid of Trump because what? You want to go back to the Biden? Because let me tell you something. As soon as they win in the midterms later on, you're going to be seeing this left or right. Not to their own, mind you. But let me just remind you of a couple of things. I just have to spend dare I say, just a little time reminding you of a few things. And maybe this is good, and then we'll get to Candace. But I got to get this off my chest because it's all kind of interconnected. The 25th Amendment. This is when somebody is, as we say in West Tampa, arrebatado, is extraordinarily difficult to use against an unwilling president. Section 4 is not a congressional no confidence vote. It's not a substitute for impeachment. It is designed solely for genuine presidential incapacity. Not because MAGA's upset. Not because he's meeting with Zelensky. No. Not ordinary political disagreement or unpopular decisions or stupidity or disputed conduct. That's what the drafters of the Constitution said. They're going to say you're going to have these people. And you're also, a lot of people say, wait a minute, I like him. Oh, no, he's crazy. I don't think he's crazy. Oh, no, he's crazy. We know crazy, and he's crazy. And look, you know, and I know people go on these things, and they say this ridiculous stuff just to get clicks and likes. And I swear to God, did you hear this? Who was this imbecile who said that they're going to arrest Candace? For what? They're going to seize her laptop. For what? What are you talking about? And then somebody else is, look, I'm just going to let it go. Let me explain to you about the 25th Amendment. Let's just get this out of the way because this is so funny. Let's say you want to do it. Okay, the process begins. Ready for this? How do you start the 25th Amendment? How do you do it? How do you get rid of Trump? It starts with the vice president and the majority of the president cabinet officers declaring in writing, that the president is unable to perform the duties of office. J.D. Vance and a majority of the principal cabinet officers? Not on your life. That's it. The vice president then becomes the acting president immediately, but the president may immediately declare, hey, Well, there's nothing wrong with you, Mr. President. You're acting kind of weird. I'm always acting weird. No, you're acting. You kind of fucked up. I'm always fucked up. What is Alex talking about? I know he's. Listen. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, why is BB Zelensky? It's like, who's running the show here? Anyway, so what happens is so JD Vance and the cabinet. This is if Trump were to say, wait a minute, I'm fine. They then would have only 4 days to renew their declaration. Okay. And the Congress would ultimately decide the dispute, and keeping the president sidelined would require 2/3 of both the House and the Senate. Section 4 has never been invoked, ever. What are you talking about? Stop talking about the 25th Amendment. And that makes the 25th Amendment arguably harder than impeachment, for obvious reasons, in several respects. It requires the president's own vice president and senior appointees to initiate what would amount to a constitutional revolt inside the administration, and they would kill. Their careers are over with. Then, if the president contests it, says, I'm fine, which he will, Congress must reach supermajorities in both chambers, not merely the Senate. Good luck. Now, impeachment. This is another one they talk about. It's not impeachment you want, it's conviction. Impeachment is, as Gerald Ford said, whatever a majority of the House says. The House may impeach. By the way, impeach means to charge, to indict. The House may impeach a president by a single majority, simple majority, just 51%, whatever. Impeachment is essentially the constitutional equivalent of bringing charges, of an indictment. It does not remove the president. Impeaching does not remove the president. Say it again with me, child. So, impeachment does not remove the president. That's just the charge. The Senate then conducts the trial with the Chief Justice presiding when the president is tried. Now, conviction is removed, or rather occurs, and conviction, rather, and removal, let me try this in English, requires 2/3 of the House, supermajority. As of today, the House is 218 Republicans, 212 Democrats. So it's Republican House, 1 independent and 4 vacancies. And the Senate has 53 Republicans and 45 Democrats, 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. So this sounds great. And I know people are upset. I really do. I really know. I feel your pain. But just do us all a favor. Enough with this. Nobody is going to be removed because of the 25th Amendment. None. Let me just say this. Let's just get this out of the way. Stop saying it. It's bleeding. People are just acting crazy. I read this thing about Steven Crowder. Do you see this? I'm not going to put it up. I don't even care. Steven Crowder writes, I said, Jesus and God, I apologize to Ian Carroll. For what? What's the matter with you? Be a man, butch up. What are you talking about? All this stuff I got to put in writing, and I'm so sorry. Don't give the guy a call. Don't use this platform to communicate and telegraph what your angst, your contretemps that you're going through. For the love of God, this country needs a butch up, grow a pair, and act like a man. Grow a pair. Quit acting like a little girl. Everybody, a bunch of little girls, these epicene little these inseeds with these prancing about, these twinks. Let me tell you something. And let me say, and being a man doesn't mean grabbing, poisonous snake, or excuse me, the difference between it's a venomous snake. A poisonous snake is a snake that if you ate it, you would get sick. You would die because of the poison. Venomous snake is one that bites you. So that's what we mean. We don't mean poisonous. We mean venomous. Okay. It's ridiculous. So let's go to the big story, which is even more funny. Where are we now with this Loch Ness monster stuff? Somebody tell me. Where are we now? What's happening with that? Where are we going with that? Anything? It's like yesterday with Fauci. Anything? Fauci had to sit there laughing. He says, you know how much my pension is? You know how much money I've made? You can call me anything you want. I don't want to care about you and your kids and your grandparents died in the cabin. I don't give a shit. Tell me how they died in the funeral and the old folks home and the convalescent center because you couldn't go see them and your baby couldn't handle the mask. I don't give a damn. It wasn't me. They told me to do that. And if it wasn't me, it was somebody else. So don't look at me. It wasn't my idea. I'm a liar, and so are they. What about that Deborah Bix? What about Collins? What about these other people? This was a conspiracy, the likes of which we've never seen before. So it was ridiculous. It was all theater. People just pounding their chest and yelling at him. He doesn't care. Anything happened to him? Nope. Nothing. But we put on some good theater, don't we? We sure did. We sure did. Yeah. And they always put some... The big story was they put some staffer behind. I think that was ridiculous. They put some staffer. They deliberately put this woman behind Rand Paul. She just sat there, and you could tell, like, what is this? What is she? You know where this started from? Remember when Fawn Hall? Did I say Fawn? Did I just say that? I did. Remember Fawn Hall? Fawn Hall had a little Indian. This was during the Iran-Contra hearing. She was Oliver North's secretary. And later on, they hooked up years later, after his wife died or whatever it was. Anyway, she was there. Remember Mo Dean? Remember in the Watergate, Mo Dean? Now, she's got a story, and I don't want to go into detail, but Maureen Dean, she had the white hair and the shin, blonde? Bleach blonde, a chignon. She sat there. Oh, it was. Then poor Anita Hill had the old law professor, this old guy. He didn't know where he was. So anyway, right behind Rand was a woman. They were saying she looks like Angelina Jolie. I don't know, but it was like she's chewing gum. I was like, what are you doing? What is this? And then they did this again to get back at Gugut's, what's his name? Fauci. Did you see Laura Ingraham rolling her eyes, laughing, going like, what is this shit? Did you see this one? Did you see this? Now, I know nobody wants to hear this. I know I'm what I'm about to say is just so, this shows no class. You're a grown woman and you're sitting in the Senate making these faces. Has it gotten to that? Yes, it has. We have no class. We're boorish, churlish. It's like a bowling alley crowd. I was thinking about one time, I never forget this. There was this dame, bless her heart. I was on a bowling team one time, and they had a bar at the bowling alley. It wasn't even really a bar, but it was just, they had like a picture of like a neon cocktail glass, and this gal named, Midge or Peg or Dot or Maggie or something. She had like a real old, like a 60s name with a cigarette. What do you want, doll? I mean, just like that's, but even that had a charm. This, we've got this. We love to do this finesse, this, oh, come on. We are so rank. There was a time in the Senate when it was just, oh God, it was, even during the Clarence Thomas hearing, it was better. It was more respectful. But Laura Ingraham with that look in the face, oh God. I know I'm wasting my time. I know. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Come on, stop it. Nobody cares about this. I put something up on my X account at Lionel Media. And it was Laurence Olivier being introduced by Cary Grant. And Cary Grant was the best. He had a tuxedo that, I mean, it fit. It was perfect. And he introduced his lifetime achievement. Laurence Olivier had like 13 nominations. I think he won one Academy Award for Hamlet. He got a special. But he walks out towards the end of his life. And he walks out and people stood and applauded forever. And he starts off, oh, my great and approved masters I say unto the firmament, of you a star, shone your love upon me in your gracious country, O Carrie. Oh, my dear friend, I, brothers, sisters, commanders. At the end, John Voight was like crying. And I'm saying, we would never see this again today. We have monosyllabic cretins, Boeotians. If you know something more than 2 syllables, you're showing off. This is where we are today. Seriously, this is where we are. We have people who froth and prate and blather and rail against the stars for no reason. I've been hearing people say, we got to get 25th Amendment. You know how to do that? No. Well, why don't you stop talking about that? So then we have Candace Owens. God bless her. Candace Owens is officially a pain in the ass. And she's one of the best I've ever seen. She knows exactly what to say. And she laughs, this sincere laugh. It's a beautiful giggle. She laughs, she chortles, cacadates, guffaws. She howls. It's these people are idiots. And you have these morons, these simpletons, these Boeotians, these little twits. Again, these really weird little boys. You got your Colvettes and your others. And I am saying, nobody, maybe you know more than I do, nobody, certainly not Candace, certainly not I, certainly not my friends, nobody has accused you ever of being involved in anything. Nothing. You might be an idiot. You might be a simpleton. You might be a fool. You might be a chuff, a churl, a bore, a Boeotian. You might be a dimwit, a stupex. You might be a sloth. You may have the intellectual capacity of a speed bump. You may be just with the IQ of an onion ring. But nobody has ever so much as even hinted that you coordinated this hit against Charlie? No, I haven't heard that. I'm sure there's some moron who might have said that. I never said that. I never thought so. Number one, I don't think you have the capacity to do that. But other than that, it doesn't really matter why. Nor has Candace. Candace has never said that. And certainly not Erica. No way. Nobody. Never. Now, her behavior outside of that, see, the way they conflate that. She's a widow. Look, that train has left the station. That dog don't hunt. We've already been through that. It's like the anti-Semitic trope. It's like when you're saying that you somehow you don't like you hate Jews because you don't think we should be killing people in Gaza. That's done. Let me just say officially, raise your right hand. It's done. So you hear that, boys? You hear that? And gal, it's over. Try something new. Nobody ever accused you of this. We are beyond that. Next, the funniest time I think I've ever had, and I'm not going to make you go through this again, is the grainy, gritty, granular, pixelated Rorschach test called whatever that was. It's just this incredible. You know what is a rare find? True humor. Biting, scintillating, surgical humor. A friend of mine during the course of a conversation said, "Who's this Candace Owens everyone's talking about? Funny? No." We, of course, thank everybody for the contribution. But it's not just funny. It's rip snorting. It's a howl. It's so perfect. It is the quintessence of sardonic and sarcastic, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But we went through this. I don't want to see this again. I think I speak for a lot of people. I don't want to see that. Is that a bedroll? Is that a flash? Is that a reflection from the? Is it? Is it a partial roll? Is that a combat roll? Where's the gun? Where's the screwdriver? Did he put it down his pants? I don't know. That's not Tyler. How do I care? What is that? The point being missed is, I don't know who that is. That's not Tyler. So I don't know. Ask the person who's doing this. Ask the person who was asked to be there, who decides to do the partial roll to this, and then turns up and runs. It's like, wait a minute, shouldn't you partial roll your ass out of the picture and then run after you're beyond the for example, when you're looking up at a roof, you see the people on the edge, and then the person moves back, and then he can run. None of it makes any sense. This story, so I don't care. Well, he did go to the steakhouse. Why don't he went to Chick-fil-A? Well, but who cares? He didn't do it. I mean, it's interesting. And moreover, I'm going to say for the millionth time, again, with a separation, with an exuberance that I cannot put into words. There is no connection to the rifle. It is inconclusive. There was dust in the barrel. Isn't that a Kansas song? Dust in the wind, dust in the barrel. The positioning of the scope was such that it precluded and occluded and prevented the safety from being activated. We don't know if it was even fired. The drug detection dogs didn't find it. They could smell the fish fart, but they didn't smell that. It is inconclusive. It is as connected to the murder as this lint brush, also which is not producing any kind of. Now, was there an autopsy? I don't know if there was an autopsy, but apparently whatever it was that they pulled from the throat dissection or what have you, that compared to the rounds, ostensibly whatever the connection was, maybe they fired it then, I don't know. It was inconclusive. So that's over here. Now the next story is whether Charlie was even buried. And Candace will say something, and people will say, oh, no. Did you hear what she said? Yeah. Candace actually said she had the unmitigated temerity to insinuate and imply that he wasn't even buried? Charlie? Yeah, might not be. He might have been cremated. Mock burials. She comes up with these. They're not receipts. They're line by line time sequencing of events. How she gets this, I have no idea. And when you put her and Barron together, how did they do this? At 10:23, he farted. He broke wind, lifted his right leg, deposited a salvo of lower GI funk, walked 10 feet, scratched his ass, turned around and said, hey. I mean, how do you know this? How? And meanwhile, the prosecution says, I don't know. I think that's him. Okay, all right, so we'll do this. But then we find out that, believe it or not, what if? I mean, this can't be. What if the Charlie in the casket wasn't Charlie? Now, I don't know if you could tell length from that picture. Somebody was suggesting his hands. There are people who sit, I swear to God, with a magnifying glass and something, and they're saying maybe his hands seem to be different size than that of the Charlie before, who embraced his wife. They compared every hand sequence since day one. They looked at this. They look at the position. They look at the sun. They look at the time of day. They check the observatories. They will check things. And you'll turn on a show and you'll say, who's this? And let me tell you something about YouTube. Let me tell you something about that we do. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white, a woman, young or old. Most people are younger than most. I mean, me, of course. But they are absolutely assiduous. They are unrelenting. They are inexorable in plumbing the depths and shattering and peeling back the layers of every level of investigation. It blows my mind. It reminds me of Project Enigma. It reminds me of Bletchley Park. When they went in, when American forces went in and utilized the services of these women and men, but some women they liked puzzles, some did the crossword puzzles, some liked games, and they used them to be code breakers. People who just they weren't in the military, they weren't, but they touring and other work to break the code. At Bletchley Park, Eisenhower walked in and said, quote, "If I find any of you reveal any of this, I personally will shoot you on the spot." This is Eisenhower. He meant it to. Do you know that some of these women never divulged what happened in their entire life because they said they were never relieved of their promise never to discuss it? It reminds me of that Japanese soldier, Hirono Kachigawa, whatever his name was, who had to be relieved of duty before he actually took off his uniform. I mean, so we have this. On the other side, the cat turds, I don't know what it is, the Benny Shapiros, the tactical schmacticals, all these other people, they're just, all they have is simply this. Candace is demonic. She's a psychopath. She's evil. I think they've run out of these adjectives. They really don't make any sense. But they went absolutely crazy. And we're saying, hey, Posobiec, is this what you saw? What is her name? Her name is, I believe, yes, Brandy Siciliani. I was in the courtroom today. There was no high quality zoomed in footage showing anyone taking a shot. This is July the 10th. The video shown is the same distance as the footage of Tyler jumping off the roof. I have no idea why people are claiming otherwise. They know the video isn't going to be released publicly, so they're representing what was actually shown in court. And this is absolutely important. And I want people to understand something. Read this again. And this is important. Read this again. In fact, I'm commenting it right now because she is so Brandy Siciliani or Siciliani. And I wrote, read this again and again and again. This is it. So she says she was there. This is the woman who said she slept on the concrete. She slept outside. She wanted to get to be in the courtroom that day. She says, I know what I'm talking about. I was there. And what you saw, there was no clear. Let me ask you something. Where would a clear 4K NASA quality lens come from? Where would this come from? Where would any of this come from? Where is this from? It's not there. There is no such thing. It is not there. It does not exist. It does not exist. So what are these people talking about? I have no idea. How could anybody? And this is the part that I can't. I can't get enough of this. How can somebody? Maybe you can help me with this one. Maybe there's a way of doing this, but how? Let's see if I can say this again. How could somebody say, okay, I'll do it? There has to be something that Persobiec and whatever saw. There has to be something he saw. There has to be, and others as well. There has to be something that said, Benny Johnson, Benny Johnson. There has to be something he saw. And I don't know if it's been clear if you've heard anybody say, no, that's not what we saw. We saw a clear, almost, I heard somebody say 4K, maybe as a description, maybe not actually 4K, but a 4K in terms of clarity and limpidity and sharpness. And the question we have is, where would this even be? Where would this be? Behind them? Next to them? So what I'm saying is that we are in the midst of one of the most incredible levels of prevarication and mendacity, I guess, I've ever seen. It blows my mind. But wait, we live in a world right now where this fellow Fauci sat, this is important, Fauci sat in front of a Senate hearing and didn't say anything, but they went through everything that he did, and he lied at levels that could have possibly and most probably harmed people. And do you know what happened to him? Nothing. So why would anybody worry about going up and saying, okay, I'll say I saw this 4K video, which again, I say there's got to be somewhere. I don't know who has this camera. Who has a camera trained on the roof of this facility with precision, state-of-the-art precision for clarity? What would that camera have been trained on, or trained towards, or trained at, or focused on? What would it be there in the first place? We don't know. But is any of this possible? Absolutely. Is any of this possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this is the part which is so very interesting. This is so interesting. Someone says under his pardon, he could not legally claim the Fifth Amendment. Oh, yes, he can. Yes, he can. Absolutely. Is it smart for him to claim the Fifth Amendment? Fauci? Absolutely. Would I advise this? Absolutely. Absolutely. You'd be a fool. So why didn't he answer questions, going back to Fauci? Why didn't he answer questions like, and what day is today? And what the pardon dealt from January the 20th, when the president was in office, up until his last moment, so whatever that particular period of time was. But why would you not answer a question about where are you from? Or what time is it? Or is that tie red? Why? I guarantee you nobody's ever done any research on the Fifth Amendment or what it's about or why. You're in front of you're in front of them, and they're going to be asking you questions outside of the scope of your pardon. They're going to ask you something. You may not recognize it, but just say, you know what? What I'm asking you about, actually occurred 2 days after Biden left office, when the parameters of the pardon did not take place. How do you like that? So they know that. They know that. Absolutely. So they know. So he's told, don't say anything. And some people are, by the way, they brought his lawyer in, who was, I don't know if he was himself teetering on breaking any kind of disciplinary rule, but he said, I'll get the evidence in if he doesn't, which is, to me, that just made everything look more shady. I don't know what the point of that was. But there is a belief that if you answer any question whatsoever, anything, if you answer any question, that you are waiving your right or your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. If you answer anything, if you're silent, you can't select, okay, I'm going to answer this, but not that. I'm going to answer this. You take it or leave it. Now, some people can say, well, do we count that you're going to have to have a hearing, go before a judge, and it's even more harrowing that way. Do you remember? You'll love this. Speaking of Oliver North, he was granted immunity to testify before Congress, House or Senate, I'm not sure. He was given immunity. And that's important because you can be mandated to appear. If you claim the Fifth Amendment, then what happens is then later they will come along and they will say to you, okay, we're going to take away your ability to claim any kind of privilege by granting you immunity. See, if you say, I'm not going to answer because this may have the tendency or the possibility or chance of incriminating myself. And if they said, no, we're going to grant you immunity, you can't hurt yourself. Now you have to testify. Or as Chaz Palminteri says, now you can't leave. They didn't grant him immunity. They wanted to catch him. So I have no problem with the fact that he should confess. Absolutely no problem. It's never understood. It looks as shady, but it is a fundamental right. But going back to Oliver North was then prosecuted. The argument made, I think Brendan Sullivan or Brendan O'Sullivan? Anyway, Brendan Sullivan, his lawyer, very, very, very good, had what is called, you ready for this, kids? A taint hearing. Taint misbehaving. Taint, to see whether his evidence or whether the prosecution's evidence was tainted by inclusion of materials and statements that were made under the veil of the Fifth Amendment. Did I tell you it's called a taint hearing? Did you hear this one? Did you hear that one? It's very, very important. And what people say is there's this, and I'm not going to do this joke, but there's a switch one, okay? Okay? There is a piece of the point. The joke is, why did they call it that? Taint the this, taint the that. What's another word for it? And the answer is chin rest. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Now, see if you like that later. Later, you'll understand the joke, and you'll say, that's funny. So what this is right now is, this guy's walking away, and by the way, he has a lifetime, ready for this? He has a lifetime Secret Service, not Secret Service, but security. He has, I think, the biggest pension, the biggest salary of anybody in the history of this. I mean, he is just, and he's so obnoxious. And what's even more monumentally obnoxious, that just sickens me to the core, are those libtards, those radical lefties, those nihilistic ferrets, those jackals of the left, all of them getting together, from Bill de Blasio to Andy Cohen, to all these people, extolling the virtues of Dr. Fauci. What a great man he is. Oh, he was such a great man. Great man, my ass. He should be under the prison for what he did. He's many people call him a killer. I don't know if he was a killer or if he aided and abetted or if he was just a dupe. We may never find out specifically, but I despise him. So there's a lot of people to despise. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of really, really crazy. And America's a lot of your nerves are on edge. Why? Why? Because of what Candace has done to you. Because she has presented to you one of the most preposterous stories maybe ever in the history of mankind, and that is the story of what happened to the awful assassination of an American hero, Charlie. So that is that. So, my friends, I just want you to understand, I hope you will never mention the 25th Amendment. It is absurd. I hope you will never confuse impeachment with conviction for removal, and that's also absurd. I hope we understand that so far you've got to get around that there's no murder weapon. And all these pictures are great and they're funny and we can talk about them. And that will be a great part for the documentary called Charlie Kirk, the setup or the conspiracy. But there is no such thing anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I hope, as I interrupt your glorious day, my dear and approved members of the conspiratorium, I hope I've done something just to add a level of limpidity, clarity, understanding, sentience, the ability to digest and assimilate and to process all of the issues before you, to provide you with a platform where you say, yes, I understand now. That's all I want to do. To provide you with the ability of being at, yes, I understand. This is so terrific. Let me also say right now that there must be one day an award that certainly will not come from many of the usual suspects, but we must bestow it upon her for Candace Owens doing something. This represents a citizen's grand jury, a citizen's tribunal. It's like a SART or a Russell tribunal, the likes of which citizen investigators and the like. It is absolutely one of the most incredibly powerful and phenomenal things I have ever had the opportunity to follow. And the fact that you are here and then you spend such portions of your day and many, many later on showing that you have an interest in this, not in the superficial, not in that top 40 yacht rock, simple, unicellular, singular level pap that they provide on regular Fox News and others. You have a desire for the depth. You have a real taste for it. You've developed a taste for justice. And you have the most incredibly refined bullshit detector, perhaps maybe in the world. I don't know. I just have never seen anything like it. We're a unique group. And they really don't get it. They don't know who we are. You have our opposition or a bunch of people who I don't even know if they're, why are you against getting to the truth? I don't know. Why do you think Tyler did it? I don't know. What is your purpose? Some are paid off, I would suspect. Some are just, they figure that's the better place to end. I don't know. In the long run, when all is said and done, we will remember who you were. We will remember how you rejected, renounced, abnegated the evidence, the fact of what's going on. It's something that we will not soon forget. We will never let them forget what they've done. Because remember, this isn't about Candace. This is about finding justice for Charlie. Period. End of discussion. And now, my dear friends, I say to you, I'm going to let you go back to your world, back to your life. I myself am going to be doing I've got a number of commitments. I got a late start today, but I wanted to let you know because I had to tell you that please don't say 25th Amendment again. Please don't say it. Don't say impeachment. Please don't. Let's talk about this grainy, serpentine, Loch Ness monster, granular thing. It's not Tyler. And it's not justice. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done. So later on tonight, we will be a part of this. I will watch as Ms. Candace does her thing. She is, every day she impresses me more and more and more and more. And when people come out here and just ravage her, you have no idea how it angers me. I'm thinking she's trying to get to the bottom of truth and you're stopping her. Why? That's for another story. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Have a wonderful, a great, a deliriously beautiful day. Spend time with friends. Listen to music. Spend a little time with yourself today. Listen to music. Music is that's. And listen to something you grew up with when you were younger, when you were a teenager, maybe when you were happy. Not that you're not happy now, but listen to it because it's the soundtrack of your life. It reminds you of significant portions. Music is wonderful. So take time. Relax. Don't let this get to you. Don't lose sight because as soon as this problem is over, we have many more to come. All right, my friends, thank you. Have a great and glorious day. We will see you this evening. Until then, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.